in Jurassic World Evolution 3, we got a lot of more options for building with the new inclusion of the modular building system. We've had access to, buildings before, we've had access to rocks before, of course, but we have never had the building system like this, well, at least without mods. When I first hopped into Jurassic World Evolution 3 for the first time, and when I first placed down a lagoon, I was like, damn, this barely changed, right? It felt like it barely changed, but then I remembered my 200 plus hours in Planet Zoo, and I was like, holy, I gotta get creative. The other day, I saw a video from Evolution Square, and she was making a shallow lagoon, which I will be using in this build, and I was like, wow, wait, that's actually kind of smart. But then I was also thinking, if you can place the rocks to make the lagoon shallow, you should be able to place them above the lagoon too, which is exactly what we're going to do. So at first I was gonna make the lagoon just like normal level, but I was like, it's gonna look a lot better if I place it deeper and then like make the rocks look like they're already like ground level, so it looks like it's like further down into the ground. So that's also going to be part of it if you want to make something that looks slightly like this. And with the lagoon, it is, I forgot, no joke, I had just placed it and I underestimated the size of them. Like, they look, it's weird because they look big and small at the same time, so it's hard without like continuously placing them to understand where to put them. But what I did was I placed them in a odd shape on purpose, of course, because it's a cave, it's a cave. It's not going to be perfect looking. Then I, raised up the terrain a bit, so I could, I actually do that because I want to be able to place, like, just foliage. Like, I want to be able to use the foliage brush, because if you didn't know, the rocks, they aren't affected by the, the terrain tools aren't affected by the rocks. So basically what you could do is place a whole bunch of rocks, and as long as they're at, like, a certain level, you'll be able to just use the terrain brush and trees will still appear. Here, I'm just placing a whole bunch of rocks, making like the foundation for it. Eventually, yeah, I'm scaling it up. By the way, when you do get to the rocks that go like inside of the lagoon, turn collisions on. I really do need some like help on that actually, because it's annoying because it keeps turning off every time it goes into the lagoon. So I guess that's like just whenever it gets within the radius, like even if it's in the air, the collision's going to turn off. But that's actually good for when you're making the ceiling. The ceiling, you are gonna want the collisions to be off, because if they're not, you're not gonna be able to put your camera under the rocks. I found that out a while ago because I was making a cave aviary the other day, and I was like, dang, I'm not restarting this whole thing. But I couldn't place my camera inside without going into the free cam. And every time I would try to follow a dinosaur, guess what? My camera would go above the rocks and I wouldn't be able to see inside of it. I'm making the rocks look more, ground level. See, while I was doing this, I noticed this could be technically two builds, because without the ceiling, it looks like a really, like, I'm telling you, it looks like a really nice rock quarry. Like, you could really just make like a enclosure for a marine reptile and have it be like some sort of quarry at the same time. I'm trying to find a place where I could possibly put a viewing gallery, but you're gonna see at some point I'm just like, you know what, it looks better without it. I'm going for the more naturalistic approach. All right, these rocks specifically, I love putting them at the edges, and like they're just really good in general. This is like my favorite rock for like smoothing things out, because the top is smooth. Why did I have to explain that? I don't know. So here I'm just adding more ground cover, trying to blend in the rocks with the borders of the lagoon, so it actually looks like a cave. And I actually did somewhat get the cave idea from Best and Stuff, because I saw him do it with an aviary. I was like, I can make a shallow cave lagoon. I was thinking about that when I was going to sleep. I was like, I wonder if that would work. I was like thinking, it probably is gonna work. I'm gonna do that when I wake up, because that seems like a pretty cool idea. As you can see, I'm trying to put a viewing gallery here, and I don't know, like for some reason it just doesn't fit for me. I could really just like make my own, but I did not feel like doing that at the time. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's pretty much it. Enjoy the build.
megalodon has existed in every ocean in the world, but it tends to prefer warmer climates like a lot of other prehistoric animals. It's a truly dominant ocean predator, so stay out of the water, unless you want to line up to be a hot lunch.